Hey guys, so tonight we are making eggplant parmesan. So just to give you a little update on the ingredients, I already have everything pre-cut, pre-mixed, ready to go. For our wet batter, I used gluten-free all-purpose flour, and I add some spring water, and you want it to be like a pancake batter consistency almost. And for the wet batter, I add dried basil, garlic powder, a little bit of Himalayan salt, and a little bit of ground black pepper. That's it. For the dry batter, I use the gluten-free all-purpose flour again and Italian style breadcrumbs. For the measurements, usually like a cup of the Italian breadcrumbs and then a half a cup of the flour. You want more breadcrumbs than flour. And if you need to make more, you just double the measurements. For the dry batter, I add pink Himalayan salt, onion powder, garlic powder, dried basil, dried oregano, black pepper, ground black pepper. And this pasta herb mix, I found it at TJ Maxx, but you can zoom in and see some of the ingredients. All right. So you mix that all up and it'll look like this. Now I already have my eggplants cut up. They're like kind of like a medium thickness. Here I have 3 cheese blend Italian cheese. The bigger shreds work better. Heirloom tomatoes cut up. This is fresh basil to finish off at the end. And I also have a marinara sauce that I add date syrup, organic date syrup, a little bit of pink Himalayan salt, dried basil, garlic powder, and a little bit of oregano. And I warm everything up in the pan. All right, so let's get started. So we're first going to take our eggplant. I'm going to dip it in the wet batter. We want to have it coated on all sides, even the edges. Once it's coated, we're going to put it in the dry batter. I use 2 different forks so it doesn't get too clunky. So scoop some up around the sides to get it, try to get it evenly coated. Sprinkle a little on the top, and then I take the end of my fork and just flip it. Do the same thing on this side. Try to have it really coated with the dry ingredients. All right. First one's done. We're going to add it to our pan. Don't worry about that. It usually falls off. Just clean up as you go along. Have my temperature at about a 4. If your mixture starts to crowd up at the bottom of the pan, you want to scoop some of it out because you don't want your batter to start to burn. Okay, so we'll do another one into the wet mixture. Like I said, make sure it's coated all around, even the edges, like that. Now into the dry batter, same process. Brush some up onto the sides, and then layer on top, and then you flip it the way you can pat it down so it'll stay on. I'm going to add another one in, and you're going to let them cook for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. You want them to be a nice golden brown. Guys, so it's been about 5 minutes, and from the looks of the edges, it looks like they're getting golden brown, so you want to go ahead and flip them. You do not have to put your fingers in the grease or touch the eggplant. I'll just leave this because I'm used to it. Nice and golden they are on the other side. I'm going to do that to all of them. Flip them over. That's delicious. All right, that's that one. So we're going to let them cook for another 5 minutes. Once they're done, we're going to transfer them over to the wire rack lined with paper towel. That way it won't get too greasy. The grease will drain off, and then we'll be ready to prep them to go under the broiler. Okay guys, so our first batch is done. As you can see, they are nice and golden brown on the opposite side. So we're going to lay them on the wire rack lined with the paper towel. You don't want to pile them on top of each other. We're going to give a chance for the oil to drain off. And I am cooking with grapeseed oil. I do not use vegetable oil or canola oil. You can also use sunflower oil or avocado oil. Okay, so we'll let these sit for about 2 minutes just to make sure all the grease drains off, and then we will start to prep them to go under the broiler and add the finishing touches. Okay, so now that these have drained all the oil off, they are ready to be prepped to go under the broiler. So first I'm going to pour on some of the marinara mixture. You don't want to put too much, just enough sauce. I usually put it right down the middle. That looks good. Then you want to put some of your heirloom tomatoes. That's enough. And now sprinkle with some cheese. So if you want this to be completely vegan, right now I have dairy cheese, but you can use a vegan cheese as well. The vegan mozzarella cheese is really good by Voila. So I like a pretty good amount of cheese on mine. So that right down the middle, right? That looks good. So we're going to take this, transfer it to under the broiler. I have my broiler on high. You want to watch it. I'm not sure about the time. Soon as the cheese starts to melt, then you want to take it out. You don't want it to brown on the top. You just want it to be melted just enough so it cools. All right. So we are now ready to plate and add the finishing touches. See how the cheese is melted, but it's not getting too hard. Try to use a spatula and try to scoop them all up at one time. Let's see if I'm successful. Bam, there we go. All right. So now we are going to add, I use a plant-based Parmesan cheese by Go Veggie. So you want to sprinkle some of that on. Put as much as you like. This is it tastes really good too. You guys have to give it a try. All right. Then you want to sprinkle on your fresh basil leaves. I think the fresh basil adds the finishing touch to a cooked dish. As much as you want. I like a lot. All right. There you have it. Eggplant Parmesan. You see that?